Are you ready to discover the one retirement mistake that could cost you years of financial freedom and turn it into your greatest opportunity? Many women face unique challenges when it comes to preparing for retirement, but with the right strategies, you can prepare for a fulfilling future. Hi everybody, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you don't know me, I'm the owner of FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach, and as a family, we are debt-free. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about retirement. Now, the things that I'm going to go over are the very basics. This is Retirement 101. These are things that I know and I have done and I have experiences with that I wanted to share with you. Now, before we get started and before we get into this, I want to let you know that I am not a financial advisor and I am not your financial advisor. I'm just some lady who's got a certified financial coach certificate, and I am here to help you by sharing my experiences with you. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of investing and having a plan for your money, I strongly urge you to seek a financial advisor to help you with these things. This video is going to talk about what I know, what I have done in my research. If you're looking for more information, I encourage you to seek somebody a little smarter than me. We're going to get to the biggest mistake at the end of this video, but the first thing that I suggest is to understand your retirement goals. Have a plan. What do you want to see happen when you retire? Identify your retirement needs. How much money will you have coming in? Where will you live? What kinds of things are you going to do for fun? Are you going to want to travel a lot when you retire? And how much money will you need for that? Also consider your basic expenses as well as healthcare. Healthcare is one of the leading expenses during retirement. You need to make sure that your healthcare is put into place. Next, set those financial goals. When are you going to retire? At what age are you going to retire? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling great? Do you want to continue working until you're 72? Does your job allow for that, physically and mentally? Begin with the end in mind. What's your magic number? How much money would you love to have when you retire? Assess your current financial situation. Are you young enough where if that number is unreachable at the plan you are right now, can you have a side hustle, get a different job, have more money, spend less money to meet those goals? And I get this question a lot. What do you do if you haven't started yet? I can tell you this. I'm 51 years old. I, in my own personal retirement account, have very little because my husband was working many years while I was a stay-at-home mom and a preschool teacher. We decided that we were going to put all of our extra money into his 401k because he had a great 401k with a fantastic match from his employer. So really, we were doing nothing to save for my retirement. Now that he's retired and I have this business, it is high priority for me at 51 to start investing in my own retirement. It's never too late to start. At 51 years old, I'm going to do my darndest to find enough money to max out some Roth IRAs for myself. And if at all possible, I'm actually going to max out my husband's Roth IRA contributions every month, every year as well. Every year at our ages, we're allowed to put $8,000 a year into a Roth IRA. Even though my husband has retired and has a 401k, if at all possible, I'd like to max out his as well, but we'll have to see what happens. We're not quite there yet. Now, number 4 is probably the most important thing that I can tell you here today. Evaluate your current finances. Do you have consumer debt? I can't stress this enough. The biggest gift that you can give yourself in retirement is saving. The second biggest gift is to go into retirement without any debt, without owing anybody anything. No mortgage, no consumer debt, no car payment, no furniture payment, no nothing. Go into retirement with a clean slate, new beginnings, so you can enjoy these years you've worked so hard for. And identify the areas that you know you can cut back on. Do you, at this point in your life, need more clothes? Do you need to spend hundreds of dollars on beauty products and haircuts? Do you need to do that? I mean, yes. Do we want to? Maybe, probably. But do we need to? Can we temporarily cut back on those expenses in order to save a little bit extra? Now, I wanted to go into a few simplified explanations of some terms that many people don't really know if they understand, like a 401k. A 401k is essentially a piggy bank that your employer sets up for you so you can make weekly, bi-weekly, monthly contributions every paycheck to. Many times the employer will match. So for example, if you put 4% into your 401k, your employer might match that 4%. If, say, you're making $1,000 a week and you put 4% in every week, that's $40. Then your employer puts another $40 to match that in. It's a great concept and a great money-saving device for your retirement if your employer will do this. If your employer does do this and you're not taking part in it, I urge you to think again and take part. A 403b is very similar to a 401k, but it's mostly for people that are in state-funded jobs or non-for-profits, like teachers, Department of Public Works, maybe hospitals will also have a 403b. It's essentially the same thing. It's that little piggy bank that you can use to save for retirement. A Roth IRA. Now, this is essentially a savings account that you put money into that builds interest. The cool thing about a Roth IRA is it's money that you've already paid taxes on. So when you decide to withdraw it, you can do that tax-free. Now, there's a little caveat to this because if you're withdrawing money on this, it will still show up for tax purposes as income. So it may push you into a new tax bracket. I urge you to talk to your tax professional about this. A traditional IRA is something that you put money into, similar to the Roth IRA, but you get a tax break at the end of the year for doing it. Instead of doing it tax-free like the Roth IRA, you get a tax break instead on your taxes. Your money grows tax deferred, which means you don't pay taxes on it until you pull it out. This is a great idea for somebody who wants to lower their tax bracket. Again, something to talk to your tax professional about. Index funds. Index funds are like a big basket full of stocks and bonds. So when you put money in an index fund, it gets divided into all these tiny little investments, like the S&P 500, for example. This is great for people like me. If risk makes you a little bit nervous, an index fund will allow you to spread your money across a number of investments, keeping it a little bit safer. This is an easy way to invest, especially if you don't have a lot of knowledge behind investing, because you just throw it in there and you don't have to pick individual stocks. They often have lower fees attached to them and is a great way to invest over time. EFTs, exchange traded funds. This is very similar to an index fund, but it allows you to trade on the stock market. It's a convenient way to buy a wide range of assets without buying each individual ones. They're flexible, usually with low fees, and can be bought and sold anytime the market is open. This makes it a great option for new people who are interested in the stock market. Target date funds. Target date funds are a great idea for somebody who has a target date of retirement or use, for example, 2035. These funds automatically mix their choices of stocks and bonds over time. And if you invest when you're younger, it will be a little bit more aggressive. And as you get older, it becomes much more mild in their approach to investing. It's a set it and forget it. Perfect for people who are looking to start investing at a younger age over a longer period of time. So those are the simple definitions of some of the most popular ways to invest. Now let's talk about a catch-up plan. And this is something that I find super interesting and fascinating. I touched a little bit about this earlier. After the age of 50, you're allowed to invest $1,000 more as of today and play a little bit of catch up if you haven't done the amount that you wish you had done in previous years. This will allow you to focus on more of an aggressive savings plan. If you're over 50, you can max out your contributions in an IRA of $8,000. As I record this, there are 20 Mondays left in 2024. If you were to invest $400 every Monday until the end of the year, you can reach that maximum contribution of $8,000. Now, if you don't have an extra $400 a month, you can still contribute to whatever you can afford. Starting now with a little bit of money, even if it's $20 a week, is better than not doing anything at all. If you were to start at the beginning of the year and invest $153.85 every single week, you could meet that goal of investing $8,000 for the year. If you're concerned with the amount of money that you have saved already for retirement, and you want to rely on more than just Social Security as you retire, consider your income as we sit right now. Are there ways that you can increase your income with the sole and complete goal of putting all of that money into retirement? Could you explore side hustles? Could you look around to see if there's a better job? Could you ask your boss for a raise? Would you consider delaying retirement for a little bit longer just to increase your chances of contributing, as well as increase your Social Security amount that you would get every single month? Go with a simple investing strategy. Again, I highly encourage you to talk to a financial advisor about this, but if any of those things that I talked about earlier might be appealing to you, start simple and learn what you can about your investment strategies. It's really important before you get into the nitty-gritty of investing to start with a solid financial foundation. This includes an emergency fund and your debt payoff plan, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. Let's first talk about a few terms that they use when they're talking about investing. Risk tolerance. This is something that they use to determine how much risk you're willing to take with your money. For me, my risk tolerance is very low. For, say, a 23-year-old kid, I use kid because anybody under the age of 35 right now is a kid, his risk tolerance might be a lot higher because he's got a lot more time ahead and a lot of time to make up for anything that might get lost. Think of it like a roller coaster. Some of us are okay with those big drops and big uphill challenges. Other of us would rather just sit back and enjoy the smooth ride of a decent roller coaster. When you're investing, your risk tolerance will help you decide what kinds of investments are right for you. It's important to balance your comfort level with potential rewards in order to make your journey a smooth one that won't stress you out. Diversification. Diversification is kind of like having a variety of dishes at a potluck dinner. You might want to sample each and every one of them. Some of them might not look so good to you, so you're going to pass. Others you might really enjoy and go back for second. You never want to put all of your eggs in one basket, so spreading your investment across the boards for things like stocks, bonds, as well as real estate is the best idea in order to not put your eggs all in one basket. This way, if one investment isn't doing well, you still have the others to back you up. Diversification reduces the risk tolerance. Compound interest. This is one of my favorites. Compound interest is like taking a snowball and rolling it downhill. You start with your little bit amount and then you roll it. And as you roll it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and earns you interest. Not only does your initial money happen here, you then add on the interest that you earn. But the joy is you keep rolling and your interest earns interest. So your snowball just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Your money can grow faster the longer you continue to invest. This is one of the most magical things about investing. Compound interest is a thing that everybody should know about. The sooner you start investing, the faster your money can grow. However, you can still earn a substantial amount of money with compound interest if you're just getting started now. And good money management. This is the biggest money mistake that I was talking about at the very beginning of this video. If you are not able to manage your money well now, then you're never going to be able to get ahead in the retirement game. Budget for retirement in mind. Again, start with the end in mind. If you need a budget planner, I have a free printable downloadable planner. It's not going to cost you a dime, just the amount of money that it would take to print it. I'm going to leave a link below in the comments. Create this budget with the retirement goals that you have in mind. Live now like you already have retired. This will allow you to live within your means, or even better, below your means. And if you have debt that needs to be paid off, you can attack that debt head on. Now, a point that somebody made in the comments I kind of wanted to address here. The comment was, if your mortgage payment is less than you would be paying in rent, then you shouldn't necessarily worry about paying off your house while you're still working before you retire. And I have to say that I don't agree with this, because if you can pay off your house while you're still working, you won't have to rent because your house will be paid off. And the only thing that you'll be paying for in your house is taxes. And that's got to be much lower than rent. So comparing paying rent to paying the mortgage really doesn't apply, because if you can get the mortgage paid off, that's going to reduce your monthly expenses that much more. Let's talk about emergency fund real quick. We all know we need one. 78% of us don't have one. It's highly important when you're getting ready to retire to make sure that you have an emergency fund set up. At least a small emergency fund, if not 6 to 8 months. Now, I did hear a podcast the other day, which was very interesting to me, and they were addressing whether or not you should have an emergency fund once you're already retired. I found this very interesting because the key point to having an emergency fund is two things. If an emergency happens, number one. But number two, if you lose your job, it's always good to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in a bank. If you're retired and you have a substantial amount of money saved up in a retirement fund, then that would be essentially your emergency fund. If you're only living on Social Security and you don't have a piggy bank full of money that you can dip into if needed, you will probably still need an emergency fund. Because if you only have $2,200 coming in a month for Social Security, that might not be enough to live on as well as pay for an unexpected emergency. And let's talk about the role of frugal living in building wealth. If you can live below your means, you can just store this money or stockpile this money for another reason. If you're living above your needs, that means that there's nothing extra there to play with. Let's talk about some real life examples of how frugal living can lead to significant savings. The majority of people go out to eat at least once a week, if not more. Many people go out for coffee and lunch every single day, Monday through Friday. I have a good friend of mine who lives in the city, and she commutes from the train and stops every single day for coffee and breakfast on her way to the office. And then many times she'll eat out for lunch too. This is a perfect example of what we can cut out in order to be frugal and add that money to our savings account. She told me that she spends $20 a day on breakfast and lunch eating out. Do the math on that one. That's $100 a week that you could be putting into a Roth IRA, even for Pete's sake, a high yield savings account that's going to give you 4.25% would be better than just eating your money. And we can talk about practical frugal living tips. I just did a video, I'm going to put it above here, 50 things that you cannot pay for in order to save money. Those practical frugal living tips are all over my channel. Just do a quick search on my channel and you'll find a plethora of ways to be frugal. Hacks, tips, and everything else that you need to make life more frugal for you and your family. And I also want to reiterate in here to seek professional advice on many of these things from tax professionals and financial advisors. They can really help you with a very small fee navigate the waters a little bit better. And it's 100% worth it to talk to somebody who really knows what they're talking about here. I also want to encourage you, lastly, to stay positive. I want to encourage you to remain empowered. It is your choice and your decision on where you spend your money. Having a positive mindset is extremely important in not only life in general, but retirement planning as well. Celebrate those milestones. Put it on the refrigerator. Announce it to your partner or your family or your best friend that you are on this journey to stockpile money for your retirement because you plan on moving abroad, traveling abroad for the year, taking trips to a warmer climate, which is what we're doing every single winter. It is a financial goal for us. You want to feel secure and reliant on yourself more than anything else. And I have 100% faith that you can do this. You can get started. You can be a lifelong learner and figure this all out. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I truly appreciate you and have a great day. Bye-bye.